It always feels the same when the headline breaks. Pastor resigns amid allegations, or church leader removed after investigation. You don't need to read the whole article. You already know the pattern. Gifted leader, a growing church, a moral failure, then silence, then spin, then shame on everybody, and underneath it all, power, sexual brokenness, and secrecy. It seems like they always travel together. We're going to talk about that today right here on the Healthy Church Staff Podcast. Hi there, my name's Todd Rhoades, one of the co-founders over at chemistrystaffing.com. And we are in the middle of a 2-week series on my new book called When the Church Falls. We're looking at church failures, leadership failures, falls from grace, church scandals, however you want to put it. Not to load on or pile on. We want to try and figure out what's going on here. Why are there so many leaders that fall, and what can we do about it so that other leaders, including you, don't fall in the future? So today, let's start right here. And I've mentioned this last week in our series. If you missed any of it, go back and listen last week. I think you'll enjoy it. But this power corruption that happens so many times with leaders and in churches doesn't happen all at once. Power is a sneaky thing, and it convinces you slowly as a leader that maybe you deserve a pass, right? Church leadership comes with spiritual authority, but without humility and safeguards and accountability, that power really quickly can turn into entitlement. I've seen it over and over again. And the longer that you're in your position as a pastor or as a church leader, the more this is going to come after you, and it'll stalk you. You'll start feeling, I've been doing this a long time. I just feel like I've earned a little bit of a break. And then all of a sudden the rules that were there for other people, or the rules that are there seem like they're more for other people and not you, or maybe they're there for another season, but where you're at right now, they really don't apply. That's the beginning of entitlement, and that's the beginning of this erosion that we're talking about. In Scripture, man, the Bible never shies away from the danger of unchecked power. Think about it. When David fell, it wasn't just lust. It was really, if you dig down, peel back the layers of the onion, it was entitlement, it was cover-up, it was abuse of power. And most moral failures don't start with sex. They really don't. That's the headline, right? And that's the sensationalism of it. But most moral failures don't start with sex. They start with some kind of a slow, overtime drip of emotional drift. A little bit of loneliness, a little bit of ego, some hidden pain, a desire to feel seen. Mm-hmm. And because of that, like what I was just describing, that flirtation, when it starts, you just rationalize it as, I'm just being friendly. Or those private DMs, direct messages, that just feel emotionally intimate. And sharing marriage frustrations with someone that you're not married to, that's another sign. These are just small steps that don't feel scandalous in the moment, but over time, they can quickly build into a path of destruction. James 1:15 says, desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin. And man, I've just seen this so many times in the church as I've looked at all of these different scandals, particularly the ones that have to do with power and with sex. And I've mentioned this before, and I don't think any leader ever gets up in the morning and says, this is the day I'm going to blow it. This is the day I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose my job and my career. This is the day I'm going to take people that have been following my spiritual leadership and totally derail them. Some of them might even lose today's the day I'm going to do that. Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever thinks that they're going to be where they end up. But that's where they end up. Desire, James 1:15 says, when it has been conceived, gives birth to sin. Think about this too. Secrecy, the more you try to hide something that you're doing, secrecy should be a red flag to you. Secrecy is always a warning sign. In almost every scandal, I can't think of one right now that this secrecy wasn't a part of it. In almost every scandal, the real issue wasn't just what happened. It was what was allowed to stay hidden. And churches protect the wrong person when they say things like, oh, we didn't want to hurt the ministry. We handled it quietly to protect the work God was doing. But protecting the work at the cost of the truth isn't wisdom, it's complicity. Look at everything that just unfolded in the past year. Boy, it's been a little over a year at Gateway. And how the initial church reaction to Robert Morris's sin, they knew about it. Some of them knew about it. And it really came out that if the truth were really to be told, they didn't want to hurt the ministry. So we handled it quietly to protect. Everything was up and to the right, and we wanted to protect that. We wanted to protect, in religious language, what God is doing. But protecting that work isn't wisdom. And as a couple of even the elders, I believe, are still entrenched in some lawsuit, Robert Morris is going to jail. They're figuring out that it can be complicity as well. And then lastly here, my last point for today, and then I'll get you on your way for your day. Temptation isn't disqualifying. I don't think in Scripture anywhere it says temptation in and of itself is a sin, but how we handle temptation is. Hiding it is. And the bravest thing you can do isn't lead a sermon, it's to tell the truth to somebody before the headline writes itself. Healthy leaders bring temptation into the light. They build their guardrails now, not after. Matter of fact, if you wait and think, I'll build that guardrail tomorrow, there might not be a tomorrow. It may be way too late. So here's the bottom line, the thought I want you to take away for today, okay? Sin grows in the dark, and so does entitlement, and so does hypocrisy. And this is what I want you to take away. You are not immune. You are not immune, and neither am I. So here's your action steps for today. Ask yourself, who knows the full truth about my private life? Who knows me? Who knows me? And then establish one new guardrail this week. Maybe it's the 3 a.m. text rule, the open door policy, something concrete that you can really put into place to guard who you are. Again, we want that private persona to be the same and to match your public persona. All right, this is from my book. This whole series is called When the Church Falls. And if you want to really honestly assess your vulnerabilities as either a leader or maybe you're on an elder board or serve on your church's search committee or your board, I've developed a free tool for you. It's available free of charge over at whenthechurchfalls.com. I think it's /assessment, whenthechurchfalls.com/assessment. And you can take that. It's absolutely free. And it'll ask you, I think, 10 questions, and then it will tell you exactly what it thinks, how you're doing in this area, and if you're susceptible, if there's any warning signs that you should be aware of. whenthechurchfalls.com. You can also pick up a copy of the book there. I think this would be a great book for a group study with either your leadership team or your church board. There's some discounts, bulk discounts there. You can reach out to me and I can get you some information on that as well. You can also follow me over at todd.church. That's my new website. You can find out all of our latest podcasts are listed there. All of my latest writings and blog posts are there as well. And also a form where you can reach out to connect with me. If you've got any questions or any way that I can serve your church, that's at todd.church. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Tomorrow, we're going to continue on with this series on When the Church Falls. I hope that you will listen tomorrow. I hope also, if this podcast has been helpful, you forward it on maybe to your staff or to your board or somebody on a colleague that you think this could be helpful to this whole series. All right, thanks. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great one.